All right, Instagram, hope you guys are doing well. We're going to be logging into Facebook in just a second here. If you're just tuning in, by the way, my name is Jerry. I'm the owner here at Wealth Dynamics. And every Friday night, I do a wealth creation course. And I want to make sure I'm up and logged on my Instagram so you guys can see me, that I'm logged in on my Facebook, that they can see me as well. Awesome, everything's good. If you guys are in the comments, let me know if my volume is good. Make sure the speakers are good. You can see me, you can hear me okay. And I want to welcome you to my Friday night wealth creation course. I do these every single Friday. Every single Friday. I've done these for, I don't know, 2 years, maybe 3 years now. And I continue to do these for free. And part of my story, guys, and if you're just tuning into this, make sure that you share it. We're going to share some great information tonight, some important information tonight, some positivity. But if you're just joining, part of my story and the reason why I do these courses is that I always wanted to know about money. When I was a kid, I wanted to know about it. Growing up, I wanted to know about it. My parents and my family, we didn't grow up rich. Like, we were actually very, very like kind of financially poor. My mom and dad probably lived on $30,000 a year in household income. When I was a kid, I watched our house get foreclosed on. I watched our car get repoed. We were homeless, living in a tent all in one summer. So I didn't have a great money experience, right? And we kind of lived like the way I grew up anyways. We kind of lived hand to mouth. I didn't look at it as like my childhood was hard or things were bad. You know, when you're there, that's the reality. Like, you don't look at it as like I'm worse off than other people. But the reality is we kind of lived like in our own economic recession constantly. Money was always short. Okay, we always had debts, bills, reasons why we couldn't do things. And so I grew up like with this distaste for money, but also this curiosity about money. I wanted to know more about it. And I never knew anyone rich. I never knew anyone wealthy. No one ever showed me this stuff. So the reason I do these courses is because when I finally got the information, first of all, when I finally got the information, I thought I had it. It was actually wrong. I was doing a lot of stuff that my peers were doing, the industry, the financial industry that I'm in, they were doing. So I was like, man, I've got the golden grail, the holy grail, right? And I thought I had like, you know, do all this stuff, put my money in my 401k, pay off all my debt, save up and pay a house, you know, buy a house with cash and all this stuff. And then I realized that information was also wrong, right? So I'm really passionate about sharing this info because this is life-changing. The stuff that I learned about money is life-changing. Most people don't talk about it. Those that do have some sort of ulterior motive, usually, and they're not actually sharing like real true data. So these courses are meant to give the real information about money, the real data about money in a simple and easy to understand way and for free. Because the reality of the situation is everything I am going to share with you tonight, you could go Google. You don't need to pay for a $5,000 masterclass to learn from some pro expert. Like, you go look up all this stuff. That's what I did. I didn't pay people for this info. I looked it up. I was excited and I looked it up. And I started focusing in on what are these people doing. They didn't charge me anything. You know why? Most of them are dead. Okay, the wealthy people that I study, they didn't do masterminds. They didn't do 997 courses online. So this is free information. It's helpful information. It's information that's true. It's information that the wealthy use. And I want to share with you before we get into this, it's also information that's very counterintuitive to most of the things that you and I see happening around us today. Right? There's one quote I want to start with. And I forget who told me this, but I've literally done this almost my entire life. They said, if 19 out of 20 people are doing something, you can pretty much do the opposite and succeed. Like, the simplicity of that, it's very true. If I look at what is the majority of America doing right now, what's the majority of the world doing right now, if I just go do the opposite, I'm probably going to be pretty well off. Right? So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen really quick so you guys can see. On Instagram, I've already pulled this up, but for Facebook, I want to share this with you guys as well. I want to pull up what 19 out of 20 people aren't doing right now. Right? So we're in a crisis, like multiple crises, right? I think crisis is one of those words where if it's plural, you just put an I at the end of it to sound sophisticated. So I think we're in multiple crises. I don't know if that's right. Martin, is that right? Tell me in the comments if that's right, bro. But you guys can see the virus is happening. We have the stock market crashing. We have bailouts happening. We have asset classes going down. We have people in quarantine. We have businesses going under. We have airlines that are going under. United just said they're going to lay off 60% of their staff if they don't get a government bailout. Like, it's insane. I've never seen this much stuff happening all at the same time in a negative sense. Right? So what are 19 out of 20 people doing right now? Tonight, they're at home. Tonight, they're probably scrolling through Facebook, looking at coronavirus stuff. They sure as hell ain't on this course, right? They're probably looking at symptoms on WebMD, right? About, do I have this? Do I have that? They're probably like Googling over the stock market and worrying about their 401k. That's what 19 out of 20 people are doing. And the reality is that those people are being effect right now. Effect, meaning I can cause things, or I can be effect. I can be the effect of things. Things happen to me, right? So I want to really quick just give everyone to confront and recognize things are freaking weird right now. So this isn't like positivity land, like everything's fine, we're spitting Skittles and rainbows and there's nothing going on. That's called denial. Things are definitely going on. I think the financial aspect of what's going on is a lot worse than the pandemic and the virus that's going on. Most people aren't thinking that way, but that's the reality of it. But I do want to give you permission to say, yep, things are kind of shitty right now. Okay, just lost your job, that sucks, right? Quarantine in your house on a Friday night, that sucks. That's real, that's what's actually happening right now. And now that we've done that, what's the next step? What is the next step? What are we doing next? Because we can't hang out in the past, right? In order to win in the future, you've got to get through the past and be in the future. I can't be in both locations at the same time. And guess what? The future also isn't the present. The future is right, like this next moment in front of me. Okay, so here's what I'm teaching my clients to do. I want to walk through this with you guys because it's very powerful and it's very simple and it works, right? So think about a recession. And we haven't had an announcement that we're in a recession yet. And I went over last week what a recession was. I think there's a lot of just noise about what a recession really is. A recession is when the production of the nation goes down for 3 months in a row, meaning the businesses produce less for about 3 months in a row. When that happens, we officially hit a recession, right? Now, the second phase of that is a depression, meaning that the production declines for 6 months in a row, okay? And so that's the thing that people see and they're like, crap, what do I do? And there's a lot of uncertainty. And what we need to do in a recession, there's two things, depending on where you're at, right? So if I've been preparing for this, I personally have, my clients personally, they have, I tell them what to do ahead of time. For the last 2 years, we've been preparing for this to happen. And so if I've been preparing for this, what I'm gonna do now is gonna look a lot different than if I wasn't preparing for this, right? Because if I've been preparing for this, this is actually for me an affluence, right? My company, we just had our best week in history because we were preparing for this. Right? So if I'm in an affluence, what I'm doing is probably not what I'm showing you right here tonight on the screen. What I'm going to be doing is a little bit different, right? But if I haven't been preparing, which is 90% of us haven't been preparing for this, we got caught off guard, right? Then this is what I need to do. Okay, the first thing that I need to do is I need to get in production mode, right? I need to get in production mode. Had a guy text me last night. He's like, hey, I don't know what to do. I can't pay my bills right now. I'm thinking about, defaulting on my mortgage. And I was like, hey, the number one thing you need to do right now is you need to go sell more of your product. You need to get out of the house. You need to get on the phone. You need to start producing and you need to make things happen. And he was kind of like, well, I can't because the virus and we're not in control of that. And here's my mindset, guys. Like I said, we're going to as is. The virus is a thing. It's there, right? But it doesn't mean it has to be my reality. That's the beauty of life is I get to pick my reality. If my reality is I can't do anything, then that's what's going to happen. If my reality is, sure, there's a virus, let's pretend like there's not one, I'm going to go work anyways, and that's going to be my reality too. But the thing that I've got to do right now is produce, and produce means increase my income. Increase my income, right? So if I'm increasing my income, here's what this is going to look like for the average person. If I have a W-2 job right now and I'm like, maybe I don't have a business. Maybe I don't have a sales job. Maybe I should have those things, by the way, but I can sell my stuff. right? I'm from Alaska. You Alaskans, sell the snow machine. Get rid of the four-wheeler, sell the boat. You don't need that crap. You can rent it, right? I can sell my stuff. If I went through my house, this is what I would do. I would get a pen right now and I would get a notepad and I would go through my house and I would take an inventory of every single thing in my house and I would rate it on a 1 to 5 scale. Okay, 1 meaning it was dumb. I don't need this thing right now. It's stupid, right? The 72-inch flat screen TV, that's a 1. Sell that thing. The gigantic couch that you paid $6,000 for, that's a 1. That's dumb. Sell that. That's going to give me income. Somebody will buy it is a 2. I'm going to rate things that are a 2, which means it's bad timing. I don't need to own this thing right now. Doesn't mean it's dumb. It means that I don't need to own this thing right now. I'm going to sell this stuff that's a 2 as well. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm getting instant income. A 3 is a maybe. It's stuff that's in my house. I see it around me. Maybe I need it, maybe I don't. I'm going to make a decisive decision on that either way. 4s are needed for survival, right? So a 4 would be like my roof, my transportation, my clothing, my food, items that help me with my personal health. Never going to sell a 4. 5s produce income and reduce my taxes, and I'm not going to sell those, right? So I need to go through my house, everything I own right now, and rate it on a 1 to 5 scale. And if it's a 1 or a 2, I'm either selling it or I'm going to make it into a 5. Somehow I'm going to make it make money for me right now. And if I can't, I'm getting rid of it. That has to be just locked in, because right now what's happening is people aren't working, or they're working less. Our incomes are going down, right? That's why the government's coming out and saying, hey, let's offer up all these subsidies. And so if we're not working, our income drops. And if our income drops, we're not going to be prepared when things get worse. They will get worse. Guarantee it. We just had a hedge fund today, a giant hedge fund, go under. Guys, the crisis hasn't started yet. That's why I'm sharing this with you now. This is emergency mode. This is not like we're in the thick of it. Like we're literally just entering this thing. It's going to get worse. And as it gets worse, I have to have income. Okay, so that's the easiest way to get my income. I know a lot of people, that's out reality of like, well, I'm not a salesperson and I don't have, you have crap you don't need though. You got relatives, they got crap they don't need, sell their stuff. Like where there's a will, there's a way, right? So that's like immediate. I can sell crap. I could literally donate blood and plasma like that. I could do that right now and earn more income. I could figure out how I can be of service. Like all these businesses that are closed down. I had a client today. He's like, man, I bet they all need security right now for their buildings. Brilliant. Like go offer that. Like go offer it for free if you have to. It gets you out of the house and gets you known. It helps you increase your income. So sell stuff, like work, put in hours, look for things you can do. Pick up a side gig. I had a client this week call me. He's like, hey, my business is an event-based business and it's about to go under because people aren't doing events right now. Can I come sell for you? And I was like, 100%. We have an affiliate program. I sent him all the information. He's out right now looking for ways to earn income with that. Pick up a side gig. Start your business. I can't tell you guys how many businesses were started in a recession. Like look for, especially in a recession, look for the things that crashed. Look for the things that didn't work. Look for the things that right now are pain factors for people and start servicing those, finding out what do people want and need in this area and how do I deliver and add value for them. That's the definition of a business. And that's the easiest thing to do in a recession because all the fluff gets pulled back and people really get exposed for what's actually happening in their lives. It's the best way to see like, what are they actually struggling with right now? Okay, but bottom line is go make more money. Go make more money. And I want to bring this back to, you know, the charts I went through last week. So if I'm trying to increase my income, let me see if I can find this for Instagram again. The triangle of income, right? So if I'm trying to increase my income at this moment, what do I need to be doing? Right? If I'm trying to increase my income, I need to first increase my knowledge. Okay, the number one sign of lack of knowledge is the internal thought that I know everything. Okay, like that's what I'm like really getting at. If I think I know everything, that's the number one sign that I don't. That means that I need more knowledge. Okay, and basically like that's what I need to focus on first. What can I gain knowledge on right now? If I'm afraid of it, like that's what I need to gain knowledge on. If there's something that I'm uncertain of, or there's something that I'm worried about, or there's something that's got my attention, I need to go gain knowledge on it. Because, and guess what, as a business, again, we're talking about income as a business. If I'm lacking knowledge, that means that other people are too, right? Once I go for the knowledge, then I can be valuable. right? So basically, once I've got value, like knowledge represents value, that makes me intrinsically valuable to others, and then I can start exchanging with them. That's the bottom line of how to start increasing my income right now. Okay. So that's what I want to go back to really quick. And really, like, that's the focus as I'm trying to increase my income. It's those three things. I need to make sure that I increase those three areas. And as I'm increasing those three areas, my income's going to go up. Right. So that's my first thing, make more money. Now, there's tons of reasons why I couldn't. There's tons of obstacles I can come up with. There's tons of excuses I can make about why it's impossible and how it can't happen and all this other stuff. But the bottom line is, those that want to are going to get it done. Like, for somebody that's watching this that says, yes, this matters to me, I don't want to be a victim in the next financial crisis, they're going to make more money. That's like the number one distinction. I've always been successful in that because I just go do it. I don't think about, like, what do I need to do? Like, what's the obstacle, or what's the reason I can't, or what's in front of me. It's literally like, what's the target? Boom, let me go get that thing. Okay, that has to be the mindset. Now, the second step here, this one's critical. It's not very complicated either. Stop doing what put me in the crisis. Okay, think about right now, and I want to put this delicately, but I also want to give us all some responsibility. Okay, so I don't want to, like, downplay your situation. I know there's people that are worse off than I am right now. I know there's people struggling with stuff, and that's not the result. Like, that was like the aftershock. What caused that is what I was doing prior. So if I'm unemployed right now, there were things I did leading up to my unemployment that put me at risk to be unemployed. If I just lost money in the stock market, there were things that I was doing prior to losing money in the stock market that caused me to be in that position. I'm responsible for that. Okay, if I'm pent up in my house right now because I'm afraid for my health, there's things I have or haven't been doing with my health up to this moment that have caused me to be worried about my personal health, that I would stay in my house all day. Right? Stop doing what put me into the crisis. Like, we hear in the financial space about the bubbles, right? Like the tech bubble and the mortgage bubble, and everyone's very focused on the bubble. What's ironic and funny is people aren't focused on what blew up the bubble. Not meaning what popped it, but what expanded it to a big enough size where it was actually a risk, right? So, like, that's the activity we've got to look at. What was I doing in the last probably 24 to 36 months? All of that stuff led up to me being here. If I'm in crisis mode, it means that all of that stuff, those were ingredients, if we want to look at it that way, that when you add those ingredients together and you bake them in the oven for 24 to 36 months, it cooks up a crisis. And then something like a coronavirus is the thing that finally pops the bubble. We're all looking at the virus like, oh shit, this virus. And it's like, no, it was actually every single thing I did leading up to the virus that caused me to be in the position I'm in. The virus was just the needle. That's literally at random. Like, that could have been anything. It could have been a virus. It could have been a student loan crisis. It could have been a war. It could have been anything, but I made myself vulnerable. And the reason that that's true is because there's other people right now that aren't vulnerable. There's people right now that didn't lose money. There's people right now that didn't lose their job. There's people right now that aren't cooped up in their house. There's people right now that have a better plan because the last 24 to 36 months, that's what they were spending their time on. So I've got to stop doing the very things that caused me to be in this position. So if I'm in the market right now, if I'm in the stock market right now, I got to get out, right? I have a client, he lost 100 grand in a couple of days. Like, could you imagine losing $100,000? Like, most of us can't fathom that. Like, that's 100 grand gone in an instant. Like, it wasn't like somebody like took it from him over time. Like, most of us were used to losing money over time because we spend it. This guy, like, instantly 100 grand was gone, and he's like, shit, I don't even know where it went. Like, boom, it's done, it's out, right? So when that happens, I've got to look at, all right, that was what put me in that vulnerable position. It wasn't the virus. It was the fact that I had my money in something that can lose 100 grand that fast. So for me to stop doing what put me in the crisis would be to take my money out of that vehicle, right? Consumer spending, like people right now that are like, I can't pay my mortgage, I can't make my car payment. It's not the virus's fault, and it's not the fault that you lost your job. It's the fault that you were overspending on consumer items that aren't good for you. Like, you don't need to have a $900 a month car payment. You don't need to live in a $300,000 home. Like, it's this mentality that we have of living rich when we're not rich. And it goes back to what I covered last week on the scale of wealth. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. So it goes back to the scale of wealth that I covered last week, which basically goes through like the different phases people are in, right? Here's the scale, right? So the people that are hurting right now, it's because they were living in poser land the last 24 to 36 months. If I'm broke right now and I have a $300,000 house and a brand new vehicle and a payment, and I went on vacation 3 times last year, and right now I'm hurting, it meant that the last 3 years I was living as a poser. Instead of going up to broke, now I'm going down to insolvent. Okay. And when insolvency hits, a lot of those people are going to become lazy. They're just going to stay at home. They're like, hey, I can't work. I'm quarantined. I might as well binge on Netflix. The government's going to bail me out. And if you look, minimal money is earned because minimal time is traded. They start getting further and further down on their value, right? They're no longer exchanging. They're no longer valuable. They start to know less and less and less, right? So like this is a linear progression downward, and it doesn't have to be. What I'm saying is pull it up. Like look at what caused this, stop doing those things, and start doing things that are going to instead make me go up the scale. Now, there's this little mechanism that we all have, and I've dealt with this before in my own life, and it wasn't until I realized it existed that I was really able to find a way out. This little mechanism we have of justifying ourselves to be more right, right? Our brains don't like being wrong. Your brain is a calculator. Its job is to be correct. Now, it's not always correct, but when it is correct, when it is incorrect, it's very good at coming up with reasons and excuses and stories to make itself right, despite the fact it's wrong. So in this situation, it's very easy for me to justify and say, oh, no, the market's going to come back up. I need to buy low right now. Or, oh, no, interest rates are low. I should actually go get more debt and refinance my vehicle, and I can keep it now. Or, oh, it's okay for me not to work because there's going to be bailouts and nobody's working and we're all hard up for cash anyways and the government's going to help out. Like those are justifications in order to make my wrongness more right, which doesn't actually pan out. Like I'm going to go ahead and just let you know, finances are one of the only areas where that doesn't actually work. I can tell myself that story, but at the end of the day, if the numbers aren't there, the numbers aren't there. I've got to make sure the numbers match. So I've got to stop the actions that put me at risk. And in order to do that, I've got to confront and take responsibility that I did a lot of stuff that put me at risk right now. I would almost make a checklist. Like in my own life, when I'm in this step, I literally do make a checklist. What are all of the things that I've been doing? If I'm in a bad spot right now, what are all of the literal actions I've been taking? And I will list them out. And it kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning of this course. I'm going to go do the opposite of most of those things. Just if I do that list backwards, then it's probably going to be better than what I'm doing now, right? So if I've been putting money in the 401k, I'm going to stop. If I've been treating my home like an asset, I'm going to stop. If I've been overspending on consumer stuff, I'm going to stop. If I've been going on vacation, I'm going to stop. If I've been eating unhealthy, I'm going to stop. Like these are all things that we do that cause the bubble to be big enough that it could pop. Okay. Now, once I'm done with that step, now I move on to reducing my unproductive expenses. Now, this one is going to be a little bit controversial. I don't know if you guys have seen people posting like, hey, the way out of a recession is for us to all start spending our money. I don't want to make anyone wrong. I understand that, and I appreciate the sentiment and the humanity behind it, but it also is not logical. Recessions are supposed to happen. Okay, recessions are usually caused by the irresponsibility and lack of ethics of large financial institutions, large corporations, and government. Those are usually the 3 ingredients of recessions. Okay, the more time you see like sketchy stuff happening in the marketplace, you can almost guarantee a recession's coming, right? So like look at, I don't know if you guys have watched what's going on, right? Like if you look at what actually happens with the market, the stock market to be specifically, the last 5 years, these billion-dollar organizations have been borrowing interest rate money that's very low and buying their own stock with it. What this does is it overinflates the value of their shares, and it makes the stock market look like it's doing really well. Really, it's not. These people are basically like buying their own stock and inflating the price. And then in January and February, we saw 200 CEOs resign, quit their jobs, they blew, and they cashed out their stock options. That caused the crash. There are literally senators right now that are being asked to resign over inside trading because they knew about this and they pulled their money out in January and February as well. Okay, so when I'm looking at like all of this stuff that transpired, that's the result of it, right? And so why would I try and stimulate that? Why am I going to be the one that says, let me bear the burden of this by spending more of my money to keep you in business? Because we go back to this, the step we just talked about, like the reason somebody's in a bad spot is because of their own behavior and their own responsibilities, that they didn't do the right things leading up to a crisis that put them at risk. That sucks, but I'm not going to subsidize your mistake with my income. So I'm actually reducing expenses. There's a lot of people that are going to say, keep spending, keep the money going. And I get that. And I will buy a local and I'll do all those things when I'm actually going to do them. I'm not going to go out of my way to buy things I don't need just for the sake of saying, hey, let's keep this thing going. Right? As an investor, and these are two different hats. As a person, I can feel and I empathize for that. I wouldn't want anyone to be in that spot. Reality is a lot of people are. As an investor, I actually want the recession. Assets go on sale. Real estate goes on sale. My competitors go out of business. Like talent comes on the marketplace I can hire. This is where wealth is transferred. So this is opportunity zone, right? I'm looking at this like, all right, cool. Like this is actually what's supposed to happen. I've been prepping for it. I'm not going to try and reverse it. I want to take full advantage of the opportunities. Okay. Now there's two sides to this. There's the people right now that are actually, I would say three. There's the people that are in the sucky position that put themselves at risk, that are going to say, you know, you're a capitalist pig, that's selfish. Why would you be that way? That's heartless, that's cold. There's the people that are like me, that are Warren Buffett's, like for example, like really quick, I always have to do this little side note on Warren. That dude is a straight thug, okay? He thrives on other companies making dumb mistakes, letting them basically bleed out and then buying them for pennies on the dollar when they're about to die. I guarantee you, he's got $120 billion in cash right now. I guarantee you he will be after that. It might even be with the airlines. Like he's going to wait till this thing blows up into giant magnitude, and he's going to watch these players fall, and he's going to buy them up for pennies on the dollar and basically blow up the brand and the company afterwards, right? So there's that group of people that are like, hey, we're opportunists. We see that this is supposed to happen. We've been prepping. We want it to happen. And then there's also sympathizers, people that are kind of in the middle that feel bad for the people that are in a bad spot. They're going to say, hey, you're being, you know, too capitalistic, whatever, you know, and those are the three groups. And I want you to realize that the latter two groups, like the sympathizers and the producers, those ones usually did do the right things or semi did the right things leading up to the crash or the crisis. The first group, the ones that are in a bad spot, they were in a bad spot the entire time. Okay, Buffett has a quote, and I hate to keep quoting Buffett tonight, but I'll go ahead and say this one. He says, you can tell who's been skinny dipping when the tide goes out. You can tell who's been skinny dipping when the tide goes out. When the tide goes out, if I've been caught skinny dipping, I'm probably going to yell at you for looking at my private parts. I'm going to be upset and embarrassed, but the bottom line is I'm the one that got in the water with no pants on. That was me, right? Doesn't mean you need to take your shorts off to help me. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm looking at reducing my expenses. I'm actually economizing. Now, here's the deal. If you do this backwards, if you produce after you reduce your expenses, you will wind up shrinking. You will wind up in a worse crisis, okay? You have to take your expenses down after you've earned more income, okay? So if you earn more income and then you do all this stuff that I'm talking about, and then you reduce your expenses afterward, that's actually going to be the thing that puts you into expansion. But if I start with, oh crap, I need to cut my bills down and I need to get rid of this, I need to get rid of that, and I can't spend money on, then that's going to make me smaller. I can reduce my expenses all the way down to homeless. But that's not what I'm going for. I'm actually talking about how do we thrive during a financial crisis. I need to produce and do all that stuff first. Now, once I am rightfully on this step, when I am rightfully on this step, then I'm going to look at that same 1 to 5 scale, but I'm going to look at it with my expenses. And this is so easy. Anyone can do it. Download an app called mints.com. It's a free budgeting app. You can put it on your phone. And basically, you can look at on a 1 to 5 scale on your last 30 days of expenses, you can look at things you can keep and return, right? So 30 days, everything has a 30-day refund period. And so I'm going to look at on my last 30 days, basically, if it's a 1, it was a dumb expense. I'm going to return it, get rid of it. I'm going to get the income back, and then I'm going to save that money. Number 2, again, is bad timing. I didn't need to buy that right now. Same thing, I'm going to return it. 3 is a maybe. Maybes don't exist, so I've got to make a decision either way. 4s are vital for survival. So that's, again, food, clothing, shelter, transportation, personal health. I'm going to keep those items. 5s are income producing and tax reducing. I'm going to keep those 2. And if I do that and I stay disciplined with it, then I'm going to start seeing that I increased my income. I produced, right? I stopped doing the dumb things that put me in a bad spot, and now I'm tightening down. I should have margin. Right now, this is so important because a lot of people today, like in the financial realm, they don't like talking about budget. Like budget, like no one wants to budget. Budgeting is for poor people, you know, all this other garbage. But here's the deal: if I have, let's say I have a nozzle full of water, what happens when that gap, the actual like gap the water flows through is really wide? The water flows slow. Now, if I reduce that and I tighten that nozzle down and I restrict the flow, the water flows out more rapidly and it actually has more power, right? So that's what I'm trying to do with my income right now. I'm trying to get the nozzle flowing and then restrict it so that I have power, which is cash flow. And that's going to help me push through and actually get through this crisis. Now, once I've done that, I need to start building up my savings and my credit. I've handled the basics. Now I'm in opportunity zone. So savings, I need to be looking at saving a maximal amount of my income, as much as I possibly can right now. Okay, and when I say savings, I don't mean in a 401k plan. I don't mean in a Roth IRA. I mean like something you could actually access next week if you had to. Okay, saving money. And I don't think anyone like in today's modern age is used to this, but some of my older clients, they'll remember, you know, financial institutions shutting down in the 80s. If you study back in 1929 when the Great Depression happened, we had what were called bank runs, where everyone went to the bank and tried to pull their cash out, and the bank shut down. Meaning you couldn't get money out of the bank. The bank was closed. It doesn't matter if you were their best customer, you weren't going to be able to pull money out, right? So if you put all your money in these plans, like 401k plans, which are more risky than a bank, if a bank shuts down, that thing means the stock market probably already did. Like think about just the orders of magnitude, right? So if that already shut down and I've got all my money in a 401k plan and everything's shut down, I can't get that money. So I need to be looking at liquid, right? Last week, I just put in another $10,000 order of gold and silver bullion because I want that liquid, and I had it shipped down to me because I want it liquid, right? I have clients doing the same thing. So we're building up savings and cash right now. We're building up credit. Okay, credit meaning that I'm going to go get lines of credit. I'm going to get 0% credit cards. I'm going to go get a home equity line of credit. It doesn't mean I'm going to use it and overextend on it. It means that I have it. If I need it, it's there, right? And this is where the opportunity comes in. The reason I'm building up cash and savings is A, if something does happen to my income, I can remain solvent. But B, like when stuff crashes, I need to go in and buy. When real estate comes down, I need to go and buy. With my business, when my competitor goes under and they lose their director of operations or their best salesperson, I'm going to go acquire the talent. And I want to have the ability financially to do that and have the wherewithal. Okay. And this is where it's kind of a game. Like if you have the right mentality like this, it's fun. Like you're going to go in there and you're going to get opportunities, you're going to win, and you're going to get things today that secure you in the marketplace tomorrow, or they secure your wealth tomorrow. But I can't do that if I don't have money in the bank, if I don't have liquidity, and I don't have good credit. Okay. So, and this goes back to the credit thing. Like if I can't get good credit right now, it means that I'm responsible for doing things over the last 24 to 36 months that make me uncreditworthy. My score should be above 700. Like there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to get approved for cards. If that's the case, I need to take responsibility and go fix those things. So credit repair, that'd be another option right now. But that's again step 4. So don't confuse these. I really want to stress, don't be like, hey, first I'm going to go get credit. That's the wrong order. First, go make some money. Second, stop doing stupid stuff. Third, cut your expenses down. Fourth, go get credit, right? Now, the final step to this is stick to the plan, okay? Stick to the plan. The plan is not panicking. So if you find yourself panic, if I'm watching this and I'm like, man, I'm panicking, like I'm not sticking to the plan. I need to stick to the plan. If I have a plan, I should be able to logically carry the plan out without any emotion. I should be able to just go out and get it done. Like think of a Navy SEAL. They're not out there like up and down and all whimsical. Like they just go out and perform. Think about a professional athlete. They've worked the plan so much that they don't have to think about it when it's game time now, right? So don't panic. The plan right now is not go buy more of the stock market because it's on sale. Like this is one I need to find a better way to simplify this, but I almost want to sketch it out. But if you think about like, if I lose 100 grand in the market, let's say my 401 drops $100,000. How does buying more of that help me? Right? If I went from $500,000 down to 400, I went from 200 down to 100. It's not about making my money back. It's now I have 100,000. and I just lost 100,000. I had 200, now I have 100. What am I going to do to optimally grow my 100 in the best way possible without losing money again? The mentality is not make my money back. Like, you already got robbed by the market. Don't wait it out and try and go get more and make it back, right? So I'm not buying the market because it's on sale. And by the way, what's going to happen, guys, and this is classic, is that the institutions are going to get bailed out, right? Boeing is going to get bailed out. United is going to get bailed out. These hedge funds are going to get bailed out. These businesses that caused this crash are going to get bailed out. Who are they going to get bailed out by? They're going to get bailed out by the government, right? Now think about it. The government only has one revenue source. What is that revenue source? Taxation. Where do taxes come from? Me and you. So who's actually bailing these companies out? Think about that. So if the market goes up, it's because the government bailed them out. Now, they caused you and I to lose our money by being irresponsible. So we are already like paying the price on that. Why would we also then go buy more of them while the government's bailing them out with money that already was stolen from us through taxation? That doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? That's so illogical. It's literally like being in an abusive relationship. I need to leave the relationship. Not say, oh, I'm going to give them one more chance and go buy them while they're on sale because they're going to get better. Like, it literally sounds like somebody who gets beat by their spouse and they're trying to justify why they should stay. And that's not a joke. I'm not making light of, like, that's literally financially what has happened. These companies abuse you. Literally, like, all of these guys pumped their stock prices up and then dumped that crap on you. That's why you lost money in your 401k. There's no reason to go buy more of it. There's no reason to go on sale. Get out of the relationship, because they will cause you to go broke and they will do it again next time. They had it happen in 08. Not a single one of those executives went to jail. Do you realize that? They literally, like, they were in court for doing illegal things and committing fraud, and not a single one of them went to prison. The same thing happened here. Exact same thing happened here. So don't go by the market because it's on sale. Don't go overspend on freaking groceries because it's crisis mode and you think you need everything in Costco. Like, I want to just hit this really quick. Not only is that financially unintelligent, not only is that food going to spoil, not only is there not a supply issue at all, the groceries are going to be fine, but it also causes your community not to like you. Like, this is the time where you need goodwill and support. If they see you, the son of a gun in Costco with 300 barrels of toilet paper and no one else has any, guess what? You're going to get no help. You're not going to be able to increase your income because no one will buy something from you because they don't like you, because you're doing that crap. Okay, so don't go buy a bunch of crap you don't need. Stay disciplined on the steps we just talked about. Like, really focus on the plan. If you need to go back to the prior steps and hit them again, do that. I would maybe drill through this every single day until I'm no longer in an emergency, right? So stay disciplined on my prior steps. Stay off negative social media feeds. Here's what I do, and I'm not afraid to admit this. If I see someone share some negative crap, I unfollow them. They're on Facebook, I unfriend them instantly. Right? If they're sharing like why everyone's afraid of the coronavirus and how we all need to stop being anti-vaxxers and finally just bug up and take a shot in the arm, like, no one needs to hear that right now. That's not helpful. Why are you using your pedestal to make everyone feel wrong so you can feel more right when they're down and low right now? So get off of that crap. You don't need to go watch all of the movies about outbreaks and the apocalypse. Like, stay off of the negativity. That's part of sticking to the plan. Okay? So stay off the negative social media feeds. In general, don't act out of fear or hysteria. If any time I feel like I'm not being logical, it means I'm not sticking to the plan. Anytime I feel myself drifting off into fear or doubt or what if land, it means I'm not sticking to the plan. Okay. Now, if I follow this, truly follow this, it's going to improve my condition. Now, everyone's steps are going to look different, but you do need to increase your income. Whatever that looks like for you, that's what it looks like for you, right? Anyone that's vulnerable right now, they were doing something that made them vulnerable. Whatever that looks like, you need to go handle it. Anyone right now that has low cash flow does have unproductive expenses. They're all going to be semi-different, probably very similar, like car payments, overpaying on the house, all that other stuff. But you need to go look at that for yourself and figure that out. Everyone's credit is going to be different. So that's going to be your own thing. Your plan, though, is this. Your plan, though, is to get through these steps so that you don't have to be like smaller economically at the end of this financial deal. Okay, because the virus, like that's probably going to wipe out however long that is, a month, 2 months, but the economic stuff that's happening right now is going to be forever. Right, like the $2 trillion bailouts that the federal government's doing, that devalues our currency. That's gonna cause inflation. That means your grandkids will be paying the price for what happens today. That means that our future taxes go up, right? That means that we're paying for this for decades. And so if I'm not in a position where I'm able to fix this for myself and my family now by doing these simple steps, it's going to be very hard for me to try and fix it after the after effects of what's going down do start to take effect. Okay. So really what I wanted to hit with you guys tonight, the couple things is like, A, stay busy, and B, communicate. Like communicate, be positive, look for ways to be valuable. Like people are going through tough times. People are right now staying home from jobs and not earning a paycheck. I'm from Alaska. I just heard they shut the North Slope down. Like that's a big deal. That's one of our biggest industries up there. So there's a lot of families that's how they pay their bills. So look for how can I be helpful? Right? Part of the reason why the wealthy are wealthy and those that aren't wealthy is that those who aren't wealthy think about themselves all the time. Am I okay? Okay, do I have what I need? Am I making enough money? Am I feeling comfortable? And it's a lot of like me, just introversion and self-focus. Whereas like somebody who's wealthy, even if they don't have the intention to help others and they just make a product that works and people like it, the byproduct of that is it helped a massive amount of people. It's extroverted, it's going out. Right? So the number one like basic thing I can do right now is I can look for how can I be in contact and communication with as many people as possible and try and help as many people as possible as I can right now. And stop introverting and not think about like what's going wrong in my world and what can I be, upset over or disappointed about or depressed about or down and out about. Like think about like how can I go help? How can I go add value? And if I have that mindset, these steps are much easier for me to do. Right? Because then it's not a thing where I'm like in a small little world where I'm socially distant. I'm actually contributing to a greater thing and I'm helping instead of shrinking back. Okay, nobody ever got great or better because they shrunk. Okay, so this is really like what I want to cover for you guys tonight. Again, this goes back to like where do I want to be at the end of this thing? This might be a 6-month deal, it might be a 9-month deal, it might be a 12-month deal, but the bottom line is statistically right now, the average American has less than $400 in their savings account. So that means that the average person is not even prepared for a 2-week deal. And that's why I do what I do, right? I talked to a guy the other day, the number one family office in the world. Like he helps like multi-million, like $100 million, $200 million people. And he's like, yeah, what we do is we work with the ultra wealthy and we help them build up these massive family office empires and we help them with their investments. And that's what we do. And it makes a lot of money. And I sat down and I was like talking to him on the phone and I was like, hey, that's awesome. And I appreciate what you do. I do the opposite. Okay, I take the guy that's not a millionaire and I help him get to that point. Because that's where I started. I wasn't wealthy. I wasn't winning in business. I didn't have assets. I was a broke kid that was homeless. And because I bootstrapped it and had information and the right stuff, like that helped me get there. But I had to get out of a condition of this. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to go ahead and make this easier and more relatable for all of us. Who here watching this live stream has been in a financial crisis personally when the economy was fine? Just think about it. Has there ever been a time where the economy was fine, but you just couldn't pay your rent? Like there was no stock market crash and you defaulted on your car payment. Or there was no coronavirus and you still couldn't make your credit card payment. Okay, think about that. That's happened. I've done that. I'm going to raise my hand because I've done that over and over and over. I can't tell you how many times I've done it. It's stupid. I did it still. And I've been in that spot. And my point is that was a me thing. I caused that. It had nothing to do with the virus. It had nothing to do with an economy. It had nothing to do with the market. It had nothing to do with stuff exterior to myself. It had everything to do with me. I knew I was doing it too. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to pay my rent that month. I didn't seem to care. Like, I'm not saying it was smart and justifiable, but I'm saying I did that. So if I did that, I can undo that. This is no different. Right? The coronavirus didn't cause me to be in a position where I've only got $400 in savings. the stock market crashing didn't cause me to lose money in my retirement. My retirement was lost as soon as I gave it away to that financial advisor. I caused that. If I caused that mess, I can uncause that mess. And until I have that mindset, it'll never happen. I have to confront it and take responsibility for it. The definition I love the most of confronting is to face something without flinching. Like imagine like just being able to look like my 401k, let's say it did go like it lopped in half, to look at it and not flinch. Yep, that sucks. I see it though. I know what it is. I'm not going to make up a story about why it's that way or trying to convince myself it's something that it's not. That's what it is. Let's move on and do something about it. That's the attitude. So guys, I want to wrap up tonight here. Before I do, I want to go through and answer any questions here in the comments. Let me pull up my Facebook. I really appreciate you guys. Lots of comments on Facebook. Let me just pull some of these up. We can go through them here together. All right, so we have Chris Hemingway bid bad business partnerships. So that, yeah, different things. Like Chris is saying that he's been in bad business partnerships that caused him to be in a personal recession. Right? It had nothing to do with the economy. It was just that's the spot Chris was in. And that's the reality, is like we cause all these things. Here on Instagram, we have Martin, I love you, dog. Keep up the good work in the comments. I don't see a ton of questions here on Instagram. Yeah, I think that's covering it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay positive. By the way, if you watch this at any point tonight and you're like, hey, this made sense, or I need help, or this person seems like they might be able to give me some information, literally reach out to me in the DMs. My communication lines are open. I want to be available to anyone that needs the help right now. Reach out to me in the direct message. You can give me a phone call or a text if you've got my number. If not, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. I will always answer your messages. I will always answer your questions, and you don't have to pay me a consulting fee for my time. Like, that's dumb. But I want to make sure that that information is something you can apply readily. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you all. Have a great night. Dark King, please do a recap. Man, that'd be a long recap. Dark King, once this is done, it'll be reposted and you can check it out on the live playback. And then you can also go to my YouTube channel as well. You can see it there. I'd love for you to be able to see the whole thing. But again, hit me up in the DM if you'd really like to get a recap or maybe hop on a call. Thank you guys again. Have a fantastic Friday. We got Brazil in the house. We appreciate Brazil. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.